Hey, Fritter here. Are you looking at your drawings and going, why isn't this funny looking? Sure you are. I know that because you clicked on this video. I also know everything about you. Anyway, you want to draw funny, really silly looking cartoon characters, and maybe you don't know where to start. Maybe your drawings don't look right or they're too serious. Ugh! Serious is the opposite of funny, and that's a fact. Well, look no further because I'm going to show you the magical ways to draw funny. And it's not even hard. After watching this video, you'll be impressing your friends, your enemies, dogs, cats, that creepy guy on the bus, everyone, with your hilarious cartoons. But before we get started, how about me and my pal Subbug? Oh, Subbug! If you like what you see, then like and subscribe. And if you don't like what you see, like and subscribe anyway? Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, drawing funny. I'll break down 5 tips to get you started, and I'll also draw along with you. Alright, let's go. Check your head and get into the headspace of your character. This first tip isn't even really about drawing. It's more about getting into the right headspace and about knowing who your character is, such as their personality and voice. This will help you draw. Sometimes this isn't always the case, right? Sometimes you don't know anything. And even if you're doodling for fun, I still think this matters. There are so many different types of characters, so here's some funny examples to get you started. Alright, first is the trickster. Bugs Bunny always has that sly look to him, right? That's not by accident. He's a little trickster, always instigating and one step ahead of whoever he's effing with. This character can come in any shape or size, but focus on the expression because, like a good actor, they have an array of many emotions for their tricks. The goofball. Think of Goofy. Duh. Goofballs are always forgetful, a klutz, and let's just say it, kind of an idiot. Think of Kramer too. Not a cartoon, I know. Doesn't always have to be a cartoon. Long and lanky in size. It makes sense that they're always tripping over themselves. Their faces are usually happy and soft, and a little confused and bewildered at times. The jerk face. I personally love the jerk face character, because they'll act mean towards others, but usually they're big lovable softies on the inside. Being mean isn't cool, so that's why these characters are usually the butt of jokes and ridiculed. They take everything way too seriously and have no sense of humor. They can overact and be hotheads, like Elmer Fudd, and I think that's funny. The bored emotionalist character. Check out Droopy Dog. He's always got like this super laid back kinda I don't give a crap personality. So his eyes are always half closed, and he's never impressed by anything. I love that. No matter what happens, he's like, meh, don't care. No emotion. They can also be very sarcastic and dry, like April Ludgate from Parks and Rec. For Max Funny, hook them up with a really overly optimistic, positive character. The character's voice is another thing that will help here. Imagine how they would talk. What do they sound like? Are they a blabbermouth or do they speak in grunts? High voice, low voice? Today, funny voice acting has kind of gone the way of the dodo, which is sad. Now a lot of voiceover artists are trained thespians, and they just do their regular voices, which to me is not funny. Okay, rant over. Just think of the personality in the voice when drawing. Alright, let's go to the next tip. Draw ugly. No, I'm not talking about Family Guy or BoJack Horseman and those primetime cartoons where the characters are, yes, ugly, but that's because they're poorly designed as if someone broke both their hands, then put said hands in a blender, set blender too high, and then smashed those same hands against a rock about 25 times, and then blendered the rock. I'm talking about funny ugly. Like some, but not all of Mad Magazine, Beavis and Butthead, some of that Meat Canyon stuff on YouTube. Even South Park is kind of funny looking because it's so crude. How do you even do that? Well, a hot tip here is to go for realism, but distort it. Put it through your own cartoon lens. A lot of the stuff I just mentioned is caricature. I love Beavis and Butthead because they really do look like ugly, smelly, pimple-faced teens. There's truth to it. No, they're not well drawn, and that's part of the charm. You look at their faces and you just laugh, and you probably have seen someone that looks like that. Look at real animals and human bodies and caricature and push the shapes and lines to make it look familiar yet ridiculous. Anyway, here's some things that can help you achieve this look, and let's go over them in some more detail. Line quality. Can line quality be funny? Maybe not on its own, but it lends itself to the crude, childish look you're going for here. Don't worry about making clean, crisp, pristine lines here. Leave some gaps open between the lines, and add a little bit of squiggliness too. Teeny tiny small eyes. The eyes are always really funny on these characters, and it makes the character look special, like real human eyes but with dot pupils, and pay attention to where the tiny pupils are. Far apart can look pretty dumb. The details. I say the amount of details that you want to use coincides with whatever the expression is or the gag, so kind of put it on a scale. Maybe some detail or maybe a ton of detail. And this also works great for those close-up drawings. So with all this ugliness, you might think it's all one art style. And sure, that's valid, but you can take everything I just said and put it into your own art style. That's what I do. When I do it, it looks more like those gross, ugly close-ups in SpongeBob or Ren and Stimpy. Just play around and see what works. Draw different every time. You know why most cartoons are so boring these days, right? Because animators, artists, whoever's on the payroll, they draw all the characters on model. They follow these things called model sheets, and it's just place and trace from there. If you've been following my channel, you know this makes Fritter die inside. So give me a little bit of a break here and throw those model sheets out the window and draw off model. Every time you draw your characters, draw them differently. I don't mean like change the design completely, although you could do that, I'm not stopping you. But what I mean is push the character to whatever emotion, pose, expression you want to hit. This gives you the freedom to draw pretty much whatever you can think of. It gives you the ability to draw however you feel. When it's on model and boring, there's barely emotion because the character is always stuck in some kind of neutral pose. The character's shapes are always the same, nothing's exaggerated, it's not real, it's fake and crappy. So when you're drawing, always be repeating in your head like your mantra, how can I push this drawing? How can I push this drawing? How can I push this drawing? Some tips here are, when you go big, go big. When you have to go small, go teeny tiny small. Don't settle for good enough or average. No, not every drawing needs to be a banger, but if you're drawing off model and at least drawing it how you feel, then you're mostly there. Don't rubber stamp expressions. Oh, this also makes old Fritter die inside. Put some character in there and draw it how you really want to. Varying the shapes. When you start designing a character, vary the shapes. I've talked a little bit about this in my Drawing with Shapes video, link down below, but I want to talk about this more here. So varying also means contrast. So think about how that tiny little head can fit on top of that really big body. The contrast will make it funny. It's really that simple. It's stupid how simple it is. Think of the different body types there are in real life and go extreme. Focus on that face. We just talked about varying and contrasting shapes for the whole character. But you can also do that when it comes to just the face. Every smarty pants knows that the face is, usually, made up of these main things: eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. If your face doesn't contain one or more of these things, then please see a doctor immediately. So just like in the last tip, we're gonna mess around with the sizes of everything: small eyes, big nose, that kind of thing. So easy! My goodness, this is so easy my grandma could do it. Don't forget about the other features like eyebrows, teeth, hair. A little mini bonus tip here is to also look at the placement of all the facial features. So starting with a head shape here, stick the eyes over here, the mouth over there, you get the idea. Play around with the distances between the features. This is all, of course, in relation to your head shape. The head shape and the facial features should make sense together, and that's your call. But sometimes I like it when things are so different that it's funny. So like a super giant head, but the face is super small and crammed in the middle, like a giant baby man or something. Funny. Alright, did any of that help? Leave a comment down below and let me know. One last thing. Comedy is subjective, so what I think is funny, you might not. But I'm right because I made a video about it and you didn't. Ha! But for reals, find your voice and what makes you laugh, and put that into your cartoons. It just might make other people laugh too. Alright, keep drawing funny, silly looking cartoons, my fancy fellow followers.